Welcome everybody, this video will be a summary of the most relevant events that happened at Starbase Texas during the month of September 2021. I will cover progress made at both the production site and at the launch site. I hope you enjoyed, let's begin. Even though the first orbital flight of a Starship will most likely take place by the end of the year at the earliest, that doesn't mean that there is nothing exciting happening at Starbase right now, quite the contrary actually. The month of August had just finished off with the installation of the quick disconnect arm and the rollout of the GSE tank number 7. The first couple of days come September were rather quiet, the common dome of Booster 5 was lifted, Ship 20 continued undergoing preparations for its first cryogenic test, the 6th GSE tank cover made its appearance on Friday the 3rd as work continued on the extension for the quick disconnect arm. On Saturday the 4th, however, a bushfire went out of control near the launch site, apparently caused by a couple of solar panels and a lithium battery. Luckily, it didn't result in any material losses except for a NSF camera. On the same day, we could observe 3 Raptor engines being transported to the launch site, which would begin installation on Ship 20 the very next day. On the 6th of September, groundwork for the new high bay began, and just a day before that, we could witness Booster 4 rolling out toward the launch site for a second time, with all its 29 Raptor engines of course installed. On the 8th of September, Booster 4 was lifted up onto the orbital launch table, also for a second time after the historic full assembly that had taken place just over a month before, on the 6th of August. On September the 10th, we could see that the first segment of Booster 5 had been moved into the high bay, a clear sign that we could get to see both Starship 20 and 21, including their corresponding boosters, standing next to each other at the launch site very soon. Meanwhile, also at the launch site, one more GSE tank was left in its new shell. On the next day, September the 11th, 2 new Raptor engines arrived at the production site, while at the launch site we could appreciate how the tiles on Ship 20 were nearing completion. Stacking of Booster 5 in the high bay began on September the 12th, the same day in which the common dome of Booster 6 was also spotted at the production site by Nic Ansuini from NASASpaceflgith. Over the next couple of days, a storm would hit Starbase, and as a safety precaution, our big friend Franken was lowered. On Wednesday the 15th, we had a first glimpse at the immensity of the carriage structure, also known as the claw, which will be responsible for holding the Starship catching mechanism, also known as chopsticks. In this image, you can see a clear picture of how it will work. Fast forward to Friday the 17th, this would become a special day. It was a road closure day, which was used to move one more GSE tank shell, plus a high stand for Raptor maintenance on the Starship boosters for whenever the boosters stand on the orbital launch table, even though it is always a special moment whenever something is moved from the production site to the launch site. This wasn't the only reason why this day was so special. It was rather the FAA's announcement of the environmental review for SpaceX's Starship program that made headlines that day. An environmental review which had just been opened for public comment and which will remain open for the whole month of October. It will depend on the swiftness of the FAA, whether maybe we could see Starships 20 and 21 launching with no much time in between, just like we saw with SN9 and SN10. The longer it takes for the FAA to give SpaceX the green lights for launch, the more likely it seems that we could get to see an almost back-to-back launch of 2 orbital Starships. On September 19th, the first ever testing on the orbital tank farm was finally conducted using liquid nitrogen, a testing which was repeated just 2 days later. The ground support equipment tank farm has finally come to life, a huge milestone on the road to the Moon, Mars and beyond. On Monday the 20th, the extension for the quick disconnect arm rolled out to the launch site, and on Thursday the 23rd, it was lifted up using the Franken crane and put into place together with the other half of the QD arm. On Friday the 24th, yet another GSE tank shell was transported to the launch site. On Saturday the 25th of September, Booster 4 was lifted up from the orbital launch mount and placed onto a stand similar to that of Ship 20. On the next day, we were able to see the first pictures of Ship 21's Nosecone being covered up with thermal protection tiles. And in the final days of September, we had what could be described as the happy ending for this month, since the testing campaign campaign on Ship 20 finally began, which didn't actually start too well as we saw some heat shield tiles fall off the Nosecone while testing several vents on the ship, but this is exactly what testing is for, and after all, Ship 20 will serve as a pathfinder for future models. A full cryogenic proof test was also performed on Ship 20 on the 29th of September, which was a total success. And with this we leave September behind us, and the month of October is already here, and it promises a lot of exciting new milestones, such as the static fire test for Ship 20, as well as the beginning of the testing campaign on Booster 4, which should include at least a cryogenic proof test plus a static fire test. We might also get to see the completion of Ship 21 and Booster 5 before the month ends, which would be really nice to see. I hope you liked this monthly update about the progress made at Starbase. The next one will drop early November, so I hope to see you there too. Have a nice day wherever you are, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.